DogWorks Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by First Paw Coffee Company, specializing in private label premium blend coffee. If you're serious about coffee, you should check it out. First Paw Coffee's passion is high-quality, small-batch roasted coffee. They take the extra time to taste and get everything perfect before they release new blends. They aim to bring you a cup of happiness each time you pour yourself some coffee. Find out more at ak.dog/free and enter for a chance to win some First Paw Coffee prizes, a book from our collection, and tote bag. One winner will be selected at random each month. That's ak.dog/free.
All about the sport of herding. As we began our nomadic journeys across the world, we brought dogs along with us on that journey. Albeit the dogs that traveled with us 20,000 years ago were nothing like our furry best buddies today. Those dogs and those early relationships paved the way. We learned from dogs by watching them hunt and herd, and we developed these skills by selecting the best and breeding the dogs into working companions we could trust to assist us during hunts, to herd our livestock, and even guard our wares. Dogs have advanced us as a species, and we have advanced them as a species. Our ever-evolving, loving companions. It's no wonder we created sports for them to train and compete at with as much delight as their owners, handlers, and trainers. On this episode of DogWorks Radio, we will introduce you to the world of herding dogs. If you are all about herding dogs or know someone who is, share this podcast, DogWorks Radio, with them. Let's get started.
Radio, committed to families and their dogs to build lifelong and fulfilling relationships. Visit our website at dogworksradio.com. Now here are your hosts, Robert and Michele Forto.
Hello and welcome to DogWorks Radio. This is your host, Michele Forto, and I am the lead trainer of Alaska Dog Works. Do you own a herding breed? Have you taken that dog out to herding trials? Did you know a herding dog is also called a stock dog, shepherd dog, or simply just working dog? This is a type of dog that has been trained or belongs to breeds that have been bred and developed for herding. All herding behavior is predatory behavior. By selective breeding, humans have been able to minimize the dog's natural drive to treat cattle and sheep as prey while maintaining the dog's hunting skills, thus creating an effective herding dog. Dogs can herd all kinds of animals and work with them in a variety of ways. Some breeds will nip at the heels like heelers, while others will stay in front of the animal and use a steering way to keep the livestock in a group. These are known as herders or fetching dogs. By doing this, they get the animals to turn or stop, while heelers or driving dogs keep pushing the animals forward. If you have a heeler like a border collie, or possibly you have a header like an Australian Kelpie, then you may recognize some of these behaviors being displayed at the dog park or with young children. Typically, for a family companion, these behaviors are unwanted. Do your research prior to getting a breed with characteristics that you'll ultimately not want them using in your household or life, as it can cause undue anxiety for you and the dog. Herding instincts and trainability can be measured when introducing a dog to livestock or at non-competitive herding tests. Individuals exhibiting basic herding instincts can be trained to compete in herding trials. Here's some interesting terminology. In Australia, New Zealand, and the United States, herding dogs are known as working dogs irrespective of their breeding. Some herding breeds work well with any kind of animals. Others have been bred for generations to work with specific kinds of animals and have developed physical characteristics or styles of working that enhance their ability to handle these animals. Commonly mustered animals include cattle, sheep, goats, and reindeer, although it is not unusual for poultry to be handled by dogs. The term herding dog is sometimes erroneously used to describe livestock guardian dogs whose primary function is to guard flocks and herds from predation and theft, and they lack the herding instinct. Although herding dogs may guard flocks, their primary purpose is to move them. Both herding dogs and livestock guardian dogs may be called sheepdogs. In general, terms when categorizing dog breeds, herding dogs are considered a subcategory of working dogs, but for conformation shows they usually form a separate group. Australia has the world's largest cattle stations and sheep stations, and some of the best known herding dogs, such as the Coolie, Kelpie, Red, and Blue Heelers, are bred and found there. Herding dogs have their own commands, which I found very interesting. Listen to some of these. Come by, or just by, which means go to the left of the stock or clockwise around them. Away to me, or just away or way, means go to the right of the stock or counterclockwise around them. Stand means stop, although when said gently may also mean just slow down. I wonder if that can be confusing to the dogs. Wait, lie down, or sit or stay means stop, but remain with that contact on the stock. Don't take it off by leaving. Steady or take time means slow down. But so did stand. Again, I wonder if that's confusing to the dogs. Here's a few more. Cast. That means gather the stock into a group. Good working dogs will cast over a large area. This is not a command, but more of an attribute. Find, which means search for stock. A good dog will hold the stock until the shepherd arrives. Some will bark when the stock have been located. Get out or back means move away from the stock. Used when the dog is working too close to the stock, potentially causing the stock stress. Occasionally used as a reprimand. Keep away or keep, used by some handlers as a direction and a distance from the sheep. Hold, keep stock where they are. Bark or speak up. Bark at stock, useful when more force is needed and usually not essential for working cattle and sheep. Look back, return for a missed animal. Also used after a shed is completed and rejoined the flock or packet of sheep. In here or here means go through a gap in the flock, used when separating stock. Walk up, walk on, or just walk means to move closer to the stock. Here's one of my favorites that I've heard when I watch herding trials on the television. That'll do. And it simply means stop working and return to your handler. How perfect is that? That'll do. These commands may be indicated by a hand movement, whistle, or voice. There are many other commands that are also used when working stock and in general use away from stock. Herding dogs commands are generally taught using livestock as the module operandi. Urban owners without access to livestock are able to teach basic commands through herding games. These are not the only commands used. There are many variations. When whistles are used, each individual dog usually has a different set of commands to avoid confusion when several dogs are being worked at one time. I'd like to add here, you guys, that dogs are so intelligent. When I train service dogs, I teach them upwards of 60 different types of commands, and a lot of those do include hand signals. So it's absolutely amazing to me how much dogs love to learn. We're going to take a short break here and learn all about First Paw Coffee. When we get back, we're going to discuss herding dogs as pets.
So earlier you learned about First Paw Coffee Company, and now I'm going to tell you about its Tail Wagger Blend. First Paw Coffee Company's Tail Wagger Blend is their first offering, and its name and label were crowdsourced from their Facebook fans. How cool is that? The Tail Wagger Blend is a private label premium blend that was developed just for them. It is a medium roast from Colombian beans with tastes of Brazil nuts, grapefruit, and oak. Be sure to go to ak.dog/free and enter to win a bunch of cool prizes. That's ak.dog/free.
We have been discussing the dog sport herding. Now, let's get real and discuss the ins and outs of having a herding breed as a pet. Herding dogs are often chosen as family pets. The collie breeds, including the bearded collie and border collie, are well known, as are the Australian Kelpie and Australian working Kelpie and Welsh Corgis. They make good family dogs and are at their best when they have a job to do. These dogs have been bred as working dogs and need to be physically and mentally active. It is my recommendation that these dogs be in homes with active lifestyles. They retain their herding instinct and, as I mentioned earlier, can become problematic in homes with other dogs and young children, as their instinctual desire to herd moving things can take over. They are, however, highly trainable and enjoy learning tricks and love maintaining their training routines. There are over 80 dogs that hold the breeding group description. My goodness. Here's a few of that 80 dogs in the breeding group that we have trained here at Alaska Dog Works. Australian Shepherd, Beauceron, Malinois, Bernese Mountain Dog, Bouvier de Flanders, Canine Dogs, Catahoula Leopard Dogs, Akbosh, Pomeranian, St. Bernard. Can you believe that? Can you believe that a Pomeranian is actually considered to be a herding dog? I found that amazing. I've owned a Pomeranian in my life, so that was pretty curious to me. If you've had any of the dogs that I called out as being in the breeding group description for herding dogs, let me know. I'd love to find out what your experience has been with your dog. There are so many others, but I only chose a few to mention that we've worked with in that group. I bet some of those you didn't know were considered herding breeds, as I mentioned. All right, up next, I'm going to go behind the breed and delve a little deeper into the Shetland Sheepdog.
We're living in uncertain times. If there is one thing we can be thankful for, that is the recent pet adoption boom. Shelters are being cleared out, and that means you may not know much about your new best friend. Alaska Dog Works virtual and on-site classes are the best way for you to build a lasting bond and learn about your pup, new or old. From setting up a proper routine to learning the commands and much more, Alaska Dog Works provides you with the resources to develop your dog into one of the best. Right now, Alaska Dog Works has an exclusive offer just for our listeners. Go to alaskadogworks.com now and use promo code DOGWORKS and save 20% off your training program at the time of your booking. Visit alaskadogworks.com and use promo code DOGWORKS to save 20% today. That's alaskadogworks.com and use promo code DOGWORKS at the time of booking.
Let's learn all about the Shetland Sheepdog. The Shetland Sheepdog is a small, active, and agile herding dog standing between 13 and 16 inches at the shoulder. The long coat is harsh and straight with a dense undercoat and comes in black, blue merle, and sable with white markings. The coat, along with a long wedge-shaped head, small 3/4 erect ears, and deep-chested level back torso gives Shelties the look of a rough-coated collie in miniature. Bright and eager Shelties are easy trainers and world-class competitors in obedience, agility, and herding trials. They are sensitive and affectionate family dogs, highly in tune with the mood of the household. They like to bark and tend to be reserved toward strangers. 2 qualifications of an excellent watchdog. Here are some quick facts. Their temperament is playful, energetic, and bright. They rank 25th out of 195 breeds in the AKC breed popularity. The height, again, is 13 to 16 inches. They weigh between 15 and 25 pounds. They have a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years, and they are classified in the herding group. History of Shetland Sheepdogs. Shetland Sheepdogs were originally bred on the rocky Shetland Islands, the United Kingdom's northernmost point. They were employed by farmers to herd sheep, ponies, and poultry. Toonie dog was an old slang name for Shelties, toon being a Shetland word for farm. There's a reason why the Sheltie was bred smaller than his close cousin, the rough coat collie. Thanks to their compact size, the Sheltie eats less than the collie and other large herding dogs. This is an important consideration in the harsh, cold climate of the breed's homeland, where food can be scarce. This also explains the diminutive size of Shetland ponies. Exactly when collies were imported to the island from the Scottish mainland and bred down to the Sheltie size is a detail lost to history, as the island's breeders left behind no written records. And because the islands were so inaccessible, Shelties lived in virtual isolation from other breeds and were nearly unknown in the rest of Britain until the early 20th century. The Sheltie was first recognized by the Kennel Club in England as the Shetland Collie in 1909. Under pressure from collie fanciers, the breed name was changed soon after the Shetland Sheepdog. The AKC registered its first dog of this remarkably bright and obedient breed in 1911. Care and training. The Shetland Sheepdog should do well on a high-quality dog food, whether commercially manufactured or home-prepared with your veterinarian's supervision and approval. Any diet should be appropriate to the dog's age, like puppy, adult, or senior. Some dogs are prone to getting overweight, so watch your dog's calorie consumption and weight level. Treats can be an important aid in training, but giving too many can cause obesity. Learn about which human foods are safe for dogs and which are not. Check with your vet if you have any concerns about your dog's weight or diet. Clean, fresh water should be available at all times. The Sheltie has a profuse double coat that sheds considerably. The outer coat consists of long, straight, harsh hair, while the undercoat is short, furry, and very dense. Owners must be prepared to brush the coat weekly and more often during shedding season, to help in removing at least some of those loose hair before it drifts all over the house. Be sure to check for mats behind the ears, under the elbow, on each front leg, and in the pants under the tail. Shaving the dog is not recommended because the coat protects against sunburn and heat as well as cold. The Sheltie needs a bath only occasionally. The nails should be trimmed regularly. Shelties are active and athletic, and while they need a moderate amount of exercise, they are also very adaptable to their family's way of life. They do well as city dogs as long as owners provide sufficient exercise. They enjoy outings with their people that will exercise both their mind and body. Shelties enjoy and excel in many canine events, including obedience, agility, herding, and tracking, and they shine as therapy dogs. As with all breeds, early socialization and puppy training classes are recommended. Very intelligent, trainable, and willing to please, the Sheltie will reach his full potential as a companion when taught at least basic obedience, and they are superstars at canine sports such as agility. Shelties can be quite vocal and express their happiness with barking, so owners must be prepared to teach the dog to stop barking when desired. As is common with other herding breeds, Shelties like to chase moving things, including cars, so they should have a well-fenced yard and be walked on a leash. If you are thinking about getting a Sheltie or any other herding breed for that matter, or you currently have one that you think might want to take one or more training classes and challenges, go check out our website, alaskadogworks.com. If you have a friend or family member with a herding dog that you think might enjoy the podcast, let them know all about DogWorks Radio. See you next time.
This episode of the podcast is sponsored by First Paw Coffee Company. Learn more at firstpaw.coffee.
From First Paw Media, this is DogWorks Radio. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll find a link on the episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Your hosts are Robert and Michele Forto. Our producer is Robert Forto and created for First Paw Media. Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michele Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.